pizza! Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing things a little bit differently and I'm gonna cook for you. I'm making pizza. So I have my dad's recipe here, and in this time I got all of the ingredients ahead of time so that I didn't waste none of the video measuring stuff out. Plus it's harder for you to see what it is that I'm doing. So for starters, you want a clean like counter or table. I've already cleaned off the table, already washed it, it's all set and ready to go. Then you want to get what you call mise en place, which is basically all of the ingredients measured out and prepped and ready to go, so that when you're ready to assemble everything, all you have to do is add the stuff. So for this recipe, I needed 3 1/2 cups of flour. So this is all of my flour. Then I need 1 teaspoon of sugar, which I already have measured out. Then you need 2 1/4 teaspoon of yeast. I did not get the 1 1/2 cups of warm water because I wasn't sure if it would still be warm by the time I was ready to add the yeast to the water. So when that time comes, I will excuse myself, go get it, and come back. But anyways, you need 2 tablespoons of olive oil, which I have. I cannot really tip it very much because I don't want it to sprout onto the table, because that would be a mess. I do have Pam spray, because instead of measuring out an additional amount, I'm just going to use the spray the bowl when that time is needed. Then I need 2 teaspoons of salt, which we have. Alright. In addition to all of these things, the only reason why you would need this is so that when the dough is done, you can spray the bowl so that when the dough is done rising, it's easier to pull out of the bowl and put it in the pan or whatever it is that you're going to be cooking it on top of some type of way. Oreo is on the other side of the door to the sunroom and he wants in here. He's just sitting there wagging his tail at me. Hold on, Oreo. I'll get you in a minute. So cute. He's just like standing there like, let me in, Mom. Okay, anyways. Or if you're using plaster wrap to cover the top of it, you can also spray this on that and it'll help pull that off without sticking to the dough and then having a mess. In this case, I'm using a towel because they work just as well. By setting it on top, you can spray the top of the dough, set this on top of the bowl, and it will help that way. I have an additional amount of flour so that I have some for my hands and to put on the table so that the dough doesn't stick to my hands and to the table. And then I have 2 bowls. One for mixing the dough and then another one to place the dough in after it's done. So I'm going to go ahead and go get the warm water because the very first step has to do with that, and I will be right back. Alrighty, I am back. I've got the warm water. So the very first thing is to add the yeast to the water, and you're supposed to leave it in there until it foams up. So I got the water and I'm going to leave it in there. Generally you want to let this sit for about 5 minutes. So while this is basically doing what it needs to do, move that out of frame here. Along with that, we're going to take our glass bowl and we're going to basically mix all of the ingredients with the flour. So first of all, I did the dishes and this is still a little wet. We don't want wet ingredients in here yet. So we're going to add the flour to the bowl. And we're going to discard that bowl. Then we're going to add the salt and the sugar. We can discard that from the yeast. And then we're going to mix that together. We don't want to mix the oil in yet because it's not a dry ingredient. So you want to mix all of your dry ingredients in first. I chose a very bad color to wear while messing with flour. So after this is all mixed and the yeast is done, we're going to be mixing the yeast and the olive oil. In this case, I used vegetable oil, whatever oil you would like to use. And then I'm going to add those things to here once that is finished. For the most part, it is foamed up. I have a giant clump in the middle, though, that has absolutely nothing in it. Ooh. It is okay for you to stir it. So I'm going to move it slightly closer to me. I can't really show you because the bowl is full, but I'm going to break up the clump of yeast that is sitting in the middle of this. The longer you let the yeast activate, the better, because then it'll add more of that flavor into your dough. Let's see, can I tilt it a little bit without it spilling? No, I cannot. It's got bubbles in it. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and add this to here. Make sure to get all the yeast out of the bowl. So that it can activate with the flour. And we're going to dump the olive oil in with that. This is where it's going to get messy. You have to knead the dough until it forms a ball. This is like the first time ever that I've done this where the water was still warm when I went to mix the dough. Your hands are going to look like a cake monster. But that's okay, because it eventually will all come off. So first, you're going to have it stick. Obviously sticking to my hand, but it's going to be really sticky like that. When you're first starting off, that's a good thing. You want it to be like that. Kneading it and adding the additional flour as you need it is what's going to help you get it not so that it's sticky, so that it's not sticky. So you don't automatically want to start off and just like throw a bunch of flour in there, otherwise it's going to be too dense and you don't want that. So there's a bunch of flour underneath all of this. Just mix all of that in as best as you can, and whatever flour stays in the bottom of the pan, bowl, you can mix in with the flour. No, you can mix in with the dough, not the flour. It is flour. You can mix that in with it after you put it on the table. Wow. Alrighty. So we've got a good clump going. The dough is basically all in one spot, which means it's getting time to be able to go ahead and add it to the table. So what I'm going to do is move this out of the way. And this is where the extra flour comes in. take some in your hand and put it on your surface. Spread it around so that your surface is coated with flour. Get your hand coated also in flour to try to not have it stick so much, and then remove what's on your other hand. If it starts to stick, add more flour. Then once you have everything off of your hand, we're going to turn the dough onto the table. And you're basically going to knead this into it. Ugh, what a sticky mixture. It's going to be sticky right away, so you can put some flour on top of it and just knead that dough. You basically want to push down, and you want to turn it and fold, and then push that into there. And then as you're going, in the beginning it's going to be sticky, so it's going to stick to your hand. You're going to have to constantly remove it from your hand. And that's okay, because I promise you, the more you do it, the less sticky it'll become. And when it's not sticky, you'll know that you're done. Plus, the longer that you knead the dough, the better it's going to be. Generally, at the very minimal amount of time, you want to at least knead the dough for about 5 minutes. This will incorporate the air, it will make it fluffy, it gets all of the dough inside of it, flour inside the dough, not the other way around. Just kind of get all the extra dough off your hands. Also, I hope you've washed your hands, because if not, that would be a little gross. I have, so I'm fine. Now, just for the sake of this video, I'm doing it in a separate bowl. You don't have to do it in another bowl if you don't want to. I usually try to use the same bowl so I don't have to dirty up several bowls. But you can easily take the bowl that you started with when you mixed everything in together, and you can easily just spray that bowl with the oil or the Pam and set that dough in there to be able to rise that way. You don't have to get another bowl, but I'm going to for this video. And if you want to get another bowl, that's fine. You can do it either way. It's starting to stick, so you just want to add more. You don't want to add too much, so only add it if you need it. And just because it's on the table does not mean that you have to absorb all of that in the dough. You don't want the dough clumpy. At the very least, you want the dough to rise for an hour. The longer, with some dough recipes, the longer that you allow it to rise, the better it's going to be, the more fluffy it's going to be, and it's going to taste better. So, I think it's 8:46 here. My sister gets off work in a couple hours, so this is going to be rising up until maybe 30. Let's check the recipe for exact time. So this is going to cook on 450 degrees for 10 to 15 minutes. 20 at most. So about 30 minutes before she gets off work and comes home, we will be putting this in the oven. Okay, this is getting a little bit sticky again, but that is okay. We're just going to form a nice ball here. Okay, we're going to put some flour here so that it doesn't overly stick to the table. Then you're going to take your bowl and you're going to take your spray. And you're just going to spray the bowl. Remove your dough from the table. Stick it inside. Spray the top. Place your towel over the top of it. Now it's best if you find a warm place for this to sit so that your dough can rise a little bit better. In all honesty, I probably could have put this back in the glass bowl because the glass is easier to put in the oven. If you preheat your oven to 350 degrees and then turn it off and then stick your dough in the glass bowl inside the oven while it's off, it will rise. If anything, you can just stick it on your stove. You don't have to turn anything on. If you would like to preheat the oven to 350 and then turn it off and let the heat from below rise up, that'll still work because it'll still be in a warm environment. I'm going to go ahead and find a good place for this to rise, and I will be back later when I'm ready to assemble and cook everything. So I will see you guys later. Okay, so it's been a couple hours. And now I'm going to take this off, and as you can see, the dough has very much risen. So we're going to start prepping this because for this recipe you have to pre-cook the dough a little bit. So you want to set you want to preheat the oven to 450 degrees, and then you're gonna once you get the dough in there, you're gonna preheat or pre-cook the dough for about 10 minutes. Now at this point you can either make a big pizza or you can cut it down the middle and you can make 2 separate pizzas, and that is what I'm going to do. So let's just boom bah, and then just place the other one back in there. Oh yeah, because let's put that where everyone can't see. That was totally smart. And then just recover the one up that you're not using. And basically, I'm cooking it in a cast iron. You basically put it in or on whatever it is that you... Woo! Okay, knife. Are cooking it in, and you want to spread it out so that the whole dough covers whatever it is that you are cooking it in or cooking it on. Wow. I was just about to start singing a song that I was just listening to. Okay. So now that that is in there, I'm going to go and pre-cook this, and I will be back once it's done. Okay, so I'm back. The dough is already pre-baked. We're going to add some sauce. I don't know where to put that. So obviously you have your sauce. I don't know why I thought that was gonna work. Is this all the sauce we have? I wonder. Because this is not going very far. So you can add whatever sauce you want. You can add whatever toppings you want. Whatever seasoning, you know. Be creative with it. I cut up some peppers, some pepperoncinis, some... I grabbed this. This is literally seasoning for popcorn, but it's good on everything.
Okay, here. I'm eating all.
I got the bacon bits that my sister is currently just chowing down on. Pepperoni, salami, cheese, pineapple, onions.
Because pineapple does go on pizza.
It does. Okay. I have 2 types of cheese. Got the mozzarella and the cheddar. I'm just gonna do like a little back and forth thing because I didn't realize that we had 2 kinds until I went to get the cheese. 2 seconds before I
Don't we have mixed cheese?
I don't know.
I thought we did. Maybe.
Either way, I'm just kind of doing a little of each.
You want to help me with it?
Put all the cheese on it that you want.
Okay, we'll change it in a minute. I didn't even change it. How many seconds up?
Alrighty.
I can't cut it, honey.
Is this enough cheese for you and Mom?
Peel it.
Okay, well, they didn't answer, so that's how much we're getting. Okay.
Just don't put a bunch because I don't like cheese.
That's why I was asking. Okay, so it's not
Don't
too
overload
hot.
it.
It's got cheese on it. Cheese and sauce.
I want more white cheese on mine.
You want more white cheese?
Yeah, I don't know where exactly you're planning to put mine at.
Well, that's mozzarella. It's supposed to go on it.
I know, but I'm saying I want more
Oh my god.
Oreo!
white cheese on mine.
Scared the crap out
You're not
of me.
supposed to do that.
Okay, so this is my mom and my sister's pizza, so they both want pepperoni, so we're gonna start with that.
Are you not supposed to eat though?
Peel off the-
Hi, Oreo.
get messy, so
What are you
it's all
barking
the
at?
same.
Oh, I have to get a messy
Oh, if I can open the pepperoni. Alright, so pepperoni is gonna go on the entire thing here because they both want it. And then whenever you're ready to put this in the oven, you have to preheat the oven to 450 degrees and cook it for 10 to 15 minutes. I'm gonna lift up the camera here in a second so you can see. Well, actually, I kind of figured that would happen. Okay. My sister wants salami on her side. And then they both want pineapple. might have to cut up more pineapple. Alright, my sister wants bacon bits on her side. And my mom wants onion. Okay, pepperoni, salami, pineapple, bacon bits for her, pepperoni, pineapple, onion for my mom. Their pizza is done, so let me get to it. Yas. Okay. And then also, I have an arrangement of peppers. I have the pepperoncinis. And yeah. So I'm going to put this in the oven, and then I will be back when it is done cooking. It's done. I'm going to mess this up. I hope you know. Because this is heavy. I can't hold this thing one-handed. I'm not strong to this. Okay, maybe I am. At the right angle. Okay. Boom chocolate. I'm gonna bring it closer to the pizza. So good. That looks bomb. Okay, well now I have to repeat this process. Skewers char. After the fact. Ooh. I'm also trying to get a video camera, hopefully at midnight. I can't believe you. Hopefully at midnight I will be able to get my camera. So if you like this and want to see more, don't forget to like, comment, and definitely subscribe. I'll see you guys later.